Hey, welcome back to the Overland Bonfire. This is a historic day because this is the first time we ever had a dress rehearsal for the podcast. I mean, it didn't start out that way, but the batteries died and we lost all our audio, so take two.
And if you're here for the first time, welcome, just welcome.
Yeah.
Not back necessarily.
I'm Brick.
I'm still Matt.
And I'm still Logan.
Yeah.
And he still signs the paychecks, and we still make the content, so that's why we're here.
Logan's going to start signing paychecks, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, hey, some listener/viewer topics. We asked for suggestions on Instagram. We got some good ones. One of those was pros and cons, or mid-size versus full-size for choosing your rig. And we've already covered some good points, so we'll reiterate those. We'll lead off. Matt, you have a pretty definitive answer.
I do. There's only one option, and it's a full size.
Yeah. You got a 2500 Ram Prospector, 4,000 pound payload.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think full size is tough to beat. I mean, going back to payload and people overloading small trucks all the time, and most of the time they're not in tight enough situations with them, especially if you're traveling, right? If you're rock crawling, that's a whole nother conversation. Or if you're into, doing a lot of stuff that's, that's kind of crawling related. That's a different conversation. But for most people's use, a full size goes down the road.
Yeah.
At least for me, more comfortable, hauls more. I don't get in trouble with weight. It's not even a thought.
Most of your mid-sizes are probably in the 16, 17 is the high end of payload.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Probably less than that.
Yeah. And there's some that are significantly less. Ironically, usually the more like off-road focused models have significantly less, like
sure, because
13.
Because typically they've already added weight to become an off-road.
Yeah.
To be an off-road model. I was just going to actually look up what the payload of mine is.
And so we were talking about how, like, if you add a rooftop tent and you add a camper shell and drawers and a fridge and sliders and a bumper and a winch, so, kind of minimalistic in terms of, like, going out with a kitted truck, you are up in the, 850,000 pound range. And you throw a couple of people plus food plus water plus all the random crap that's probably already in your truck, and you are knocking on the door already.
Yeah, if you're not over. It happens almost instantly. And that's the thing that's tough with it. And obviously, a lot of it's goal related. Obviously, I can pass anything but a gas station. But in the grand scheme of things, the fact that it hauls payload capacity on a 2500 is 4,000 pounds. At that point, it just nothing matters. I'm not gonna short of a really long Arctic Fox, in bed camper. Is the only thing that might start to question on,
which turns you into a pavement princess kind of already.
Yeah, right. You're not putting in the wood. You're not putting in the woods, deep woods anyway. And the other thing I can haul a lot with mine because I tow quite a bit.
Yeah,
I tow pretty often.
And we had this conversation and it did come to mind. Obviously these shorter wheelbases, if you're on turning around, like you have to turn around on a tight spot. Your breakover angle, and that is one time I will say I was on a trip, just me and a buddy. I was in my Tacoma double cab. He was in a Ram King cab, I think he had it was a generation prior to yours, so I don't think he had a full rear door, but still pretty long wheelbase. And we were going down some rock steps, and he actually did get high centered on the frame because I was kind of going doop, front end, back end, front end, down these rock steps. He was actually long enough that at one point he had tires above a step and tires below a step, kind of like the edge. So,
I've had trouble with Land Cruisers hanging on stuff, and everything. If you drop them off a big enough ledge, the Dodge would take a hell of a ledge to do something to it.
Because what's your ground clearance like?
I don't even know. I can sleep under it.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. So I don't know. I can sleep on it, not uncomfortably.
Low end, 14, 15 inches.
Probably, yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah,
because I'm at almost 12, and you've got significantly more. On that note, I will say I think there's something to be said, for some of those smaller stuff, for mobility in the woods. I've definitely been in some spots with my Tacoma where, a buddy in an XJ or somebody in a two-door Jeep, had a way easier time getting around stuff. But of course, then for long travel, being comfortable, and I don't mean long travel with suspension. I mean,
I got hours in the seat.
Yeah, there's always caveats there. Now, if Suzuki Jimneys were available, like in the States, I would probably have one because they look really cool and they're pretty capable. Now, would I let you're not taking it to Home Depot for a load of lumber.
I mean, my problem is if I was going to get something that didn't haul, wouldn't haul something. Right now, it still would be one of two. It would either be a Porsche Cayenne, like a Gen 2 Porsche Cayenne, or it would be a. I'm sorry, guys. It would be a minivan. Yeah. I would have an all-wheel drive Sienna on 33s or 31s or something.
Yeah.
I would get a hybrid Sienna. That would be and I've wanted a hybrid Sienna. I know I've talked about this too much, but I really think that's a pretty slick way to go. Like it gets you a lot of places out west that you want to go. Again, you're not gonna go banging the big stuff at Moab or anything, but if you're truly looking at traveling, like, man, they travel well. They, the low capacity is as good as most of the small trucks.
Yeah.
They're comfortable to drive. The all-wheel drive ones are not bad.
Pull seats out.
Yeah, pull seats out, sleep in it. Like, it just, for me, it would check a bunch of boxes. But
I had a car in the shop, and I borrowed a minivan from a friend. I think it was an older Sienna. And I had it for, like, I don't know, a month maybe.
Yeah.
My car was in the shop, and I was, like, yeah, I'm not embarrassed to say that was one of the most comfortable vehicles I've driven.
Right, and I think you lift a minivan, you put it on 32s or something.
Yeah,
like it gets way cooler. It's a bumper and a bumper and a winch and a roof rack, and like all of a sudden, like hey, maybe that it's more memorable if nothing else, right?
Sure,
people are gonna pay attention to it. It's not just another insert.
And surprisingly, some of those like that you found out were pretty easy to like lift. I mean, you found like
3-4 inches for the hybrids for like $500-600.
Like,
under $1,000. It was crazy.
Shopping for lift kits. That's a bargain. Yeah,
right. Crazy inexpensive. I recently have had a Tundra, like a real want for a Tundra.
We've been doing some building here in the shop, and I'm not talking bags. We've been a Tacoma builder or Tundra builder. I'm sorry.
Right, like multiple times. Like now. Like over the last few days. Yeah. How much is it if you do this?
Well, this package with that get you this.
Right. Yeah. I want all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive air suspension hybrid.
Yeah.
But I don't need all this other crap.
Yeah, that's the thing with like modern like features of builders on all the automotive sites is like, they've got all these different packages, and some of them are combinations of others and stuff. There's really, I don't think anybody does like you click through and you want the thing. It has to be things. Oh, and you can't get this unless you get that.
Right. Yeah. You get the off-road package, and then you get the JBL audio extravaganza, and you get this screen, and and I'm like, I don't really care about any of that.
Yeah.
I just want,
I want like a rear locker and a rubber floor mat.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what my truck is, right? I mean, that's basically it, right? Good traction control, rubber floor mats, and a nice suspension, and no other features that I could repair if in crisis.
Yeah.
Maybe this already exists, and I'm just missing it somewhere. But I've said for a while now, I feel like there would be a market for a major manufacturer to create a car or a vehicle system where everything's modular. You like literally have the bare minimum, and then if you want power windows, you just pull out a module. You stick this module in, or if you want, I think
they do that with Legos.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like there might actually be a genuine like market for that. There's enough people.
I mean, Ford a couple years ago actually discussed. I don't know, teased. They ended up not doing it. Because, everybody talks about, like, the cost of vehicles now. Like, full-size trucks and everything much have jumped up. Ford talked about building an F-150 that did not have the head unit, the touchscreen. And it brought the price down, like, almost $11,000 right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay having, like, knobs and buttons. I've got a phone that does all that stuff.
Yeah.
For $11,000, I'll put my own in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem.
I could buy a really nice iPad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, there's a lot of things I can do for $11,000 as far as accoutrements in a truck.
That's actually one of the things I like about my ZR2. That generation, all the off-road buttons are buttons. Like, none of that stuff's in the screen, Your Tundra thing, like, the idea being, you can get a Crew Max with a 6.5-foot bed.
It gets 18 to 20.
Yeah, like, let's call it 18 is probably like a real-world number.
Yeah.
And when I had the Sequoia with
That
this,
doubles what I get.
yeah, like and change.
Yeah. Well, no double. It's a
Oh, you're
solid
10. Yeah.
Yeah, a 9. I think it says 9.4 right now. 9.4 at the moment.
But I had the Sequoia for a couple weeks and with the same motor, similar weight, same platform, and drove that thing like I stole it and was still averaging like 16.7. And I mean, was up here in the mountains in sport mode, not being kind on the right pedal. Like,
heavy right foot. Yeah, so here's my thing. I have very rarely been in the woods, traveling in the woods, off road, whatever, where I went, either this won't fit, I can't get it out. You know, I mean, I can't back it out of a bad situation. I can't get it through here. That's very rarely happened where I went, oh man, I really wish this thing was a little smaller. Now I've been maybe up, like I said, sort of deep water in Vermont where the Land Cruiser, I got the Land Cruiser through everything. So, and it's honestly width wise.
Yeah. I was going to say.
You're not substantially wider. I mean, you're wider, but not like short of maybe breaking a mirror or something, which I've got 2 broken mirrors right now. So.
For totally different reasons.
Yeah, but.
And the other cool thing about the Cruiser, man, is the
porta potty jumped up and killed one of my mirrors. I swear.
Yeah, you got to watch them. Wild porta potties.
They just hopped right out there.
The breakover angle on that is great. Whereas with some of the bigger pickup trucks, you got a little more ass end hanging out there. But that's true. And I think too, it's important to realize this is something I discussed with someone is some of the mid sizes, like it's kind of like price creep. Like the mid sizes have all creeped up in size, but the full sizes haven't actually got that much bigger.
Well, and the other thing is the mid-size trucks are not inexpensive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at the difference between a Tacoma and a Tundra. Used to, you figured you picked up some mileage and, you gave up, it cost you a little bit less. You could still haul some stuff. It was, some of the older S10 stuff and, some of the Jeep.
Well, yeah, no, I mean.
Some of the old Jeep trucks, little Jeep trucks like the Pioneer. I had a Pioneer.
No,
I had that for a long time.
Oh, yeah, the Comanche?
Comanche.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, wait.
Pioneer model Comanche.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Comanche.
Like that was the trim.
Also just a really good looking little truck.
Yeah, that's what I drove. I drove that like all through college and stuff. And it was a great truck and got 18, 19 mile a gallon and was pretty inexpensive to buy at the time and, affordable at the time where, like I said, now your mileage isn't any worse or, isn't significantly better. Your cost to entry is just as high and it does half as much. Like,
here's something that blows my
moral of the story is buy a full size, don't play, or an ambulance if you're dusty.
He was here, by the way, you missed him.
I know, I saw that's what triggered my, instead of a van and ambulance.
Here's something that's mind-boggling to me. I wanted to look it up because I didn't want to misquote. So I drive a 2018 ZR2, which was top of the line off-road version with like at that point some very new technology in terms of the suspension. It's $41,000. Now, like I'm going to look it up for the 2024 ZR2 MSRP. Let's see. We want to take a stab. That's not right. There's no way.
Are we high or low? I was gonna guess 50.
Yeah, that says 46, but I don't think that's possible.
But I mean, okay, so
because I'm thinking
a couple years difference though. I mean,
right, but I was thinking it was like up in the 50s.
I guess it
18 is 6, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like because my truck's 8 years old.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was thinking that those were actually way closer to like 52 or 53.
I would have guessed 50.
I was thinking 10 grand.
At the same time, Tundra Limited with the off-road package, we just priced that out recently.
Right,
with like
61.
air suspension and the upgraded sounds, whatever. Yeah, with 61. So, I mean, you're talking basically 10, 12 grand more, 14 grand more. And you get the same fuel economy. And that's not in the Tacoma either.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the Tacoma, I'm curious what the Tacoma is.
So it's saying 48.3 with a $1,600 destination charge.
So 50.
Yeah. So it is 50, and I honestly, from what I've seen online, it'd be more like 52. So in 6 years, they went up 10 grand, which is a quarter of the price of mine 6 years ago.
And that's what I'm saying. So now, like I said, now at that point, you do that math on a Tacoma.
Yeah, I'm
probably 55.
Let's just do a TRD Pro. I mean, let's just do top of the line to keep it
Well, I mean, it can't do top of the line on the Tundra because it's like stupid.
Right. Yeah. I guess more off road focus because there's like a capstone Tundra that's like 71, but it's
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's great. It drives you. It comes with a driver, a butler.
Yeah.
It does your sheets and stuff.
Yeah. 48 and change before taxes, fees, dealer markup, left kidney, and all that. 48 for the TRD Pro.
Okay, so call it 50 and some change.
Yeah.
Pretty easily.
Yeah, and so honestly, because you can get a Tundra with a few things on it for 50 and change, because the one
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. We
had
actually built one that was at 52, I think.
Yeah, and then we added a few things, and you were
Well, that was going to the hybrid. Like
Yeah.
the hybrid's what cost all the money.
yeah,
like
that added almost 10 grand, right?
Yeah, $10,000 or $11,000.
Yeah.
Because when we had it to where we wanted it, and then we switched to the hybrid, we're like, oh, this is a bummer.
Yeah, it went from like 52 to 61.
Yeah, this is really depressing. But no, I mean, like I said, I think you just, if you're going to keep it for a long time, or
Yeah,
the point at which you're there, you might as well not. If you're going from Chicago to New York, you don't get off in Cleveland.
yeah. I don't know if we're out on time, but something else I wanted to bring up that's kind of along the same topic of the pros and cons that we've covered pretty well, of like a midsize versus full size versus other options. Is Logan, how many weeks have you been here now?
4. It's
Four
my
weeks?
fourth.
Is it 4?
I think it's 4.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
I
so-
haven't been here for 3.5 of them, so it doesn't seem like that much to me.
Since-
I swear, I was going to say like 3 days. He's been here 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since the episode where we introduced Logan, which was his like second or third day.
Yeah.
Maybe even day one.
I think that was day 1.
Oh,
Yeah, it
wow.
might have been
Okay.
day one. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt and Logan have worked together 2 days since that day.
I have been gone a lot lately. Yes.
So what are you going to get?
I don't know. During this conversation, I was going to say I'm not immediately in the need for a vehicle, but what maybe as a practice, someone who's looking to get something. I don't really care if it's new. Probably prefer it not to be newer. Honestly, I'm kind of with you guys. I like less.
Yeah.
I'd like something that's a little less things to go wrong with
You
it.
either got to go really new or some shit you can.
Yeah.
You can
Shit
work
that's
on it, yeah,
repairable,
yeah.
or somebody else can work on it affordably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your suggestion if someone was like, I'm looking for something I can take off road, do some car camping, but I also need to drive it every day, and I don't want to. Sienna, back to the Sienna.
Now,
So the Porsche is probably a little expensive to get worked on, and
Yeah.
even if it's not that expensive, it's harder to find somebody, right?
yeah.
Or right up the street, there is a second gen, third gen 4Runner,
I drove past it this morning and thought about it.
4th gen.
fourth. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
fourth gen. It is new.
I always have to work my math back.
Yeah, because I forgot it's a V8. So
You're way ahead of everything else Toyota
Right.
on 4Runner.
right,
Yeah.
and it's 50. Guy wants
Like 50
under $6,000.
Yeah, 58
Under
$6
$6,000. But it's got 240,000
Yeah.
miles on it. Going back to holding its value, I mean,
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah.
But now that being said, that's the same
Hey.
motors in the Sequoias that they get tons of miles out of, and that one's working a lot less. And we kind of know the history.
Yeah.
If I was going to buy a,
time mileage.
240,000 mile Toyota, this
who
dude would be a guy that would be at the top of my list.
But again, if you could put 40,000 miles on it,
Right.
with low input cost, you're talking about being in that truck for less than $3,000 a year.
Well, or also what
That's-
you talked
that's
about
cheap.
when he first pulled it out there. Or you go get it right now, and in the next 12 months, you just plan on putting a new motor.
yeah,
Everything else is in great shape.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to the 20,000 mile a year math, I'm sorry, you buy it for 55. Wow.
It's because you don't have any coffee.
I know, right? I'm so hosed. You buy it for 55. Even if you put another 5-6 in it,
Yeah.
I mean, and you get 4 years out of it, you're talking about, pretty cheap
Yeah.
cost of ownership. I mean,
Now,
you're talking about $2,500, $3,000 a year still.
the current, I'll call it current because the new ones aren't out yet. The current generation Tacoma isn't my favorite truck, but there's a ton of them out there and a ton of people that are totally happy with them for daily drivers
Yeah.
and trails. I think there's about to be a bunch of those on the market for a pretty decent deal because with the new generation coming out,
Yeah.
the Tacoma crew are usually pretty dedicated to having
Yeah, right.
the newest thing. So I think there's going to be a lot of current gen Tacomas for sale in the next year.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's the other thing. You can buy a lot of built trucks pretty affordable because it's nobody gets the you don't you get a fraction of the build cost out of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And-
I've gone to the question. I've what I would get. honestly, I kind of like. This conversation makes me think you're gonna hate this, but I kind of like the mid-sized truck, like the Tacoma or the Colorado. I do.
I mean,
like this a lot.
it'd be perfect for your wife.
But but I also am. I because of my day job doing like I have a lot of gear that I'm traveling with. I definitely have always been an SUV person.
Yeah, because you can lock it in the
up,
back.
Yeah.
So that's the one hesitation. I think if I was just getting something for fun, it would be a truck. But
And for me, for a mid-sized truck, a camper shell is like required equipment.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I had my Tacoma without a camper shell for a while, and A, I carry a lot of crap around, and B, I don't trust anyone, so that was a really difficult time for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think flatbed is the
that's true.
key piece of equipment that everybody should have.
Then you
on a
just have a
truck.
box, and
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thought. And I mean, like I've got a buddy that's had his Tacoma, like he got it like maybe not new, maybe it was 2 years, and he commutes a lot and loves it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I
now circling back, I think Matt's Porsche though. For those of you that are kind of in the realm, I think those are where GX 470s were 2 or 3 years ago. Like there's a few built ones out there, and that people are starting to realize that they tend to be well kept. They've been well cared for.
100%.
They're comfortable.
Typically well maintenance.
Yeah. And so, but now you can't find a GX 470 that somebody doesn't want like your left leg for, or it's like the bottom of the barrel,
Or it's whipped. Yeah, it's just been whipped. It's my 100 series. Yeah, no, I that's why I think the Porsche is kind of interesting because you can find them. I mean, you can find them under 15 pretty much all day, and and you can find them at 15. Sort of the 15,000 range with around 100,000 on them.
I mean, I know where there's a Touareg. It's got like $4,500 on the price for it.
It's gone.
Oh, that's gone.
Oh yeah, that sold really quick.
Oh, I figured it would, but I didn't know it was actually listed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It got listed and sold like the next day, and I think it was 5. I think she got 5 something out of it.
Never mind.
Yeah, it's
It's
gone.
Matt's daughter.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know, and then also, I mean, we've got a Subaru. We have a Crosstrek Brandy drives, and I think like an Outback for going up. I was fishing.
The perfect SUV is an Excursion. They just don't make them anymore, and finding a 7.3 with no rust is you're going to give at least from the knee down on one leg.
Yeah. It's people have figured it out.
Although that's what Laurel got rid of the
Touareg to go
for
to that.
was, and she bought it pretty well, so it can be done.
Yeah.
You got to find it in the middle of the woods in West Virginia,
Right. And know a guy.
and know a guy, right, and have that guy be your godfather.
Yeah.
There's a few things that happen there that make
But
it
outside
work,
of that, it's
right.
pretty easy.
Right.
But something too, and this is something that I'm a big proponent of. Like, you can have a mid-sized top tier off-road trim with a locker and stuff, but you can have a lot of fun in an all-wheel drive station wagon with a
you just drive away with shit in your trunk. I mean, that's really what it amounts to.
Yeah.
That's as long as you can get out of the driveway, you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, I was out fishing on Sunday.
Or a swag if you're going by
That's
yourself.
true. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying.
And I'm not kidding, it was like they were handing out Foresters up there. I kept trying to find the line.
Yeah.
Or there was a Forester meetup, because I probably saw 10 or 15.
Where was this at?
On the other side of the mountain, on Petite's Gap.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I fished a couple of different spots, and like I could see the road some of the places. Like I felt like every time I looked up, like 3 out of 4 times it was a Subaru. Which it comes back to in our next episode. We're gonna talk about like just get out with what you got. Like
And buy a full size.
big rig, small rig, as long as
We've cleared that
we're
up.
all gonna end up in a full size.
That's all right. I mean,
If you got a good deal on a 1997 Ford with a 7.3 4-door, hit me
4-door
up.
long bed, call us. Even
I'm-
a short bed.
I'm gonna flatbed it, so I don't even care.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I wouldn't care either because I would flatbed.
If you
that
have
sucker as soon as
two-
I got it. Yeah, call us for sure.
Yeah.
because-
Oh shit! If
might
you
be
got
in.
2, just head towards the shop.
Yeah, start driving. We're in.
Yeah.
Oh shit! My phone jumped out of my pocket.
So
That was exciting.
well, hey, like and subscribe. That should have been at the beginning.
We forget. So the 4 of you that are left, and we have our board.
It's gonna happen.
It's in the shop. We have it now. Our board for our.
So here's what we're gonna do. If you're on YouTube, comment if you made it to the end, like every single one of you. If you're on another platform, message us on Instagram that I made it to the end. of the mid-size versus full size, and that's how we're going to like start the Hall of Famers here.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's
because
how
I mean,
we're gonna do it.
I know a handful.
Shouldn't they get like bonus points or something? Shouldn't there be like a if you're committed to the end of this?
Yeah, we're gonna come up. We got the Dakota ring. I've had a few questions about it, like what's the deal? My answer has been, well, right now it's just something we mentioned on the podcast. It's conceptual.
It was a random thought as we were talking.
Yeah.
With very very little.
After we leave this room, we don't think about it or talk about it anymore, and that's been the case for the last 3 weeks. But we're gonna get that rolling. But we need to get like the core group started. So let us know via Instagram or YouTube comment if you made it to the end, and there is something coming your way, and it'll be awesome.
We won't remember till the next time we.
No.
we're gonna make notes. We're gonna make notes on the board when we put it up. It's gonna be great.
Yeah,
and then we'll figure out how to get you like free points or something.
Yeah,
so you
we'll
get
make it
free
worth
stuff.
your time.
Yeah, no, we won't make it worth your time, but you should.
As long as you
should do it anyway.
Yeah. That's probably way more accurate statement. If you don't really value your time, it might be worth your time.
You got to stick to the truth, man. It's okay.
Yeah.
We know what it is. All right, thanks.
More worth your time?
Huh?
We'll make it more worth your time?
Yeah, is that what it is?
Asterisk.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
You're the editor guy. Could you put an asterisk at the top of the screen? Yeah.
You're the editor guy.
And then down at the bottom it says, as long as your time is only worth this many cents or something. Yeah. Well, hey, as always, thanks. We appreciate it. We will be back in 2 weeks, another episode.